This episode is brought to you by Midwest Night Watchers, found everywhere on your favorite podcast platforms.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Piercing the Veil.
Is it Sunday again?
It's Sunday already. Of course, you know, we're streaming like 3 or 4 nights a week, so it comes by fast.
Where did this week go? Welcome back, everybody. Wow. Before you know, it's going to be another Sunday.
Yeah, I know.
Wow. Well, they're flying in chat already.
Yeah, awesome.
All right. Well, you want to start out? You want me to start out?
You can start out.
All right. We got Moon. We've got Gary, Clay. We got Heidi Popp in chat. And Gemini. We've got Dwarfy. There's a Dwarfy. And Gary. Okay, I'm already back up. Well, welcome in, guys.
Yeah,
welcome.
welcome,
Heidi
everybody.
is behind the stage and in chat. Oh my. We have a doppelganger going on.
Right.
All
There's
right,
Daryl.
welcome in. Daryl, Catherine. There's Glenn. That must have been from Heidi's Facebook. We're not streaming on Facebook.
Nope, that's
John, Tammy, Claudette. I better stop.
Yeah, they're coming in too fast now.
Yep, they're coming in too fast now. Welcome in, guys.
All right. Well, you know, this is just going to be a greet and meet, just sit here and talk and have fun with friends. Heidi's been a great friend for a long time now, and the first interview I think we did with her, we talked about her Hollywood and her Bigfoot as a kid, you know, and stuff like that, and the orbs and fairies, and got down that road. But today we're just gonna wherever it leads us, we're gonna go and just have fun with it. And so if you guys got any questions for Heidi's, please put them in all caps or for us, and that way we can see them better, and we'll try to bring it up.
Well, if anyone knows Heidi, she just starts talking and she'll just go.
Yeah.
Who knows where this is going to go?
We might just go off screen, just let her go. And
yeah, we'll just let her go.
So there's Val, and did you say hi to Claudette? And
yeah, Val, Catherine. Claudette, John T, Catherine. I think I'm caught up. So let's bring Heidi on.
All right, let's get this rolling, huh? Welcome, Heidi.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you. Hi. How are you guys? Hello, chat. Hello, peeps. Nice to see you guys.
Yeah, they're going crazy in there today.
Everybody,
coming from your channel.
Pardon?
Quite a few are coming from your channel, it seems like.
Uh-oh, nobody's over there modding. Your mods are right here. Oh no. I hope they behave over there.
And you guys graciously, you know, we share you've sent people to my audience. So thank you folks for finding me and for contributing to my page and being a part of this, because a lot of you, I found you from Midwest Night Watcher. So thank you.
Well, you're welcome. That's what we like to support anybody in this community. That's what we do. Everyone helped us out. We help people out and share things out, share links out, and If anyone's starting out like you, yes, we just want to boost you up and get your numbers up.
Aw,
We
thank
just
you.
love you. This community
Thank
just loves you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm sporting my swag. I got my hand
Whoop,
pan.
whoop, whoop, whoop. You
All
got my
right.
hand pan
I got the
on.
hand pan. I had the sweatshirt, but I got a little warm. So I put it behind. I'll put it right there.
I guess we all are. I've got the owl one.
Yeah,
Hey,
it's
we
got
got all the
the
different.
We
fan
got all
logo.
the ones.
That's awesome. We're a little commercial right now. Merch commercial.
Yeah, that is my new one on our shop that actually has my logo inside the middle of my brand new hand pan.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Love it.
Welcome in, Jackie.
So speaking of channels, if anybody in our channels have not been over to Heidi's, it's in the description. Please check it out. So her YouTube channel's there. She has a shop. I don't know what she's doing with it. Have you added anything new lately?
Not lately, but spring break's coming. So 2 years ago, my daughter and son helped me put it together. So
Cool.
she's advanced so much further now that I think we're gonna doll it up pretty soon. But high
All
vibe
right.
popisms.
There you go.
Yeah. Hi, Aaron.
So please
Oh,
go
that's
over
cute.
and check out Heidi's channel if you haven't already, and subscribe, and check out her channel and help her out. And
Thanks.
there
Thanks.
you go.
Thanks, folks. Yeah, I haven't learned the art of consistency yet. So hopefully, when I lighten up my schedule, lighten my load, I should say, in the next few, I'm so excited to get, I think it's beautiful that you guys have a regular schedule. That's when you become the familiar face, you're someone comfortable you can tune into. When you're going to see you, looking forward to seeing you, things like that. And I'm all over the place right now, so it doesn't help. You warned me a year ago, Gerald. I still don't have it down.
Nah, that's all right. Sometimes if you just pop on, you catch a new audience. It just depends on who's on and what.
True.
It just comes across people's feed or whatever. I mean, that'll work too.
Yeah.
And you can also explain that you do 2 different types of shows also, one with
Yes.
Lawrence and then your synopsis circle.
Yes. This Lawrence and I do a kids health series, and then we have the synaptic circle and a high vibe hangout. So
Yeah.
the circle really gets me involved. I talk a lot more too. The high vibe hangout, I like to interview, way showers, walking the walk and talking the talk. Yeah. I just had Latchkey Hustle on, who might pop in here. Hi, Berkeley. I see you there. I love it. That's so cute. Yeah. And Chrissy, one of the parents in my class. Mwah.
There you go.
Love her. Yeah. I have
Awesome.
her beautiful. Her daughter sends me the cutest. I have a new card from her. She always gives me these things that lighten me up right when I need it the most. And a nightlight she gave me. I've got all these stuff in front of me from these kids. And so, yeah, I love it. Look at that. The energy rolled in. And I just had like this wave of, okay, here we go. Yes, I am all over the place. And then I vlog. I just talk like I'm doing right now.
And you're a teacher and you're a mom and you're a wife. How do you do all of it?
Lemon water. This is my go-go.
Lemon water?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's it, chat. We just got the secret. It's lemon
That's
water.
secret. And if you catch my intro, and Gail, you probably would have seen some of my AI images. You'll see the lady with the microphone with the painted prints behind, but you'll see a lemon water, a water with lemons in it on there. Got to get those prompts right. Hi, Moggs. I see Moggs too.
Moggs. Twisted.
And Moon.
Roger.
Hi, Roger.
We had all kinds of people hopping in.
That's so great. Yeah, with the socials, it's hard, right? And then there's TikTok and X and Rumble and all these little bits, and you're like, I could start paying the kids to keep it up for me.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, allowance.
Yeah, there's their summer job.
Well, your daughter helped with your intro also, and I just think that was amazing what she did with your intro song.
Yes, I have another friend. I think you've seen me talk to her, Kelly Meehan. She's the Spirit Baby. She does Spirit Baby Radio. She's Spirit Baby Medium. And she called Charlie and asked if she'd help her with her intro.
Nice.
So she's got a little side hustle going right now.
All right.
Wow.
And I saw Clay in the chat earlier. Now, my daughter, I've been talking for like 6, 7, 8 months about her project. she kind of steered off the music, Clay. She got a little overwhelmed, and the creative juice stopped, and she panicked, and she's like, I like listening to music. I don't like making music. And then she wound up finding a new bliss in writing. So this is a little 14-year-old who's going to publish her first book of short stories. So that's the Zoom we were on before, where I was like, I'll be right there. My friend is a mentor for her. She's a published author, and so she's mentoring her with that. So she's doing a little bit of everything, but the music is still going to come in when she puts music to her short film she made. So she did that too. My kids are busier than I am.
Wow.
That's awesome. Yeah, she could do the same kind of video to her music or poems or whatever she's into writing, and just start pumping out those videos.
Yeah. I think she'll take she's taking a lead. So I'm just trying to fuel the fire, you know?
There you go.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, my little guy has his play this week, and it's about time travelers and time jumpers.
Ooh.
And the class wrote it. They wrote it. So I'm so excited. He hasn't shown me a thing. He wouldn't rehearse lines with me. He knows I'm like actor girl, and he's like, no, it's a surprise. So all I know is they have 5 costume changes each kid. So there's a lot going on.
Fresh brewed.
Yeah, I've seen that. There's a few different kinds in the store. He must have saw Gerald drink his tea.
Yeah, I took a swig of tea.
Sweet tea? Is it some
sweet tea?
No, it's just pure leaf raspberry.
Good stuff. Yeah.
It seems not to clog my throat as much as other drinks, especially when I'm online. So I tend to grab that while I'm online.
And some of it seems like it's getting watered down. Like Lipton is not as good as it used to be. And talk about health for kids and stuff. Who knows what we're all drinking, and tea and this and that. And,
I know.
There's so many different kinds out there right now.
There really are. Then they're going after the bags that the tea's in.
Right.
They are. Why?
There's plastic in that. There's like microplastics and
is there anything
carcinogens
anymore? Come on.
I mean, the air we breathe and the water we drink, both those are toxic. So
we probably shouldn't be drinking out of the plastic water bottles also.
Yeah, that's not so good.
Even tea bags, come on.
I know. But again,
Stevie.
Oh, howdy, Stevie.
Yeah, I'm trying to pop people up as I see them. So if I miss anybody, I'm sorry. It's not intentional. I'm just trying to keep up. Well, yeah, I mean, there's a new soda out. I don't know if it's new or not, but it's called Poppy, I think it is, or something. But it has only 5 grams of sugar. So I'm trying to find it so I can kind of slowly.
Yeah, but what else is
low sugar?
So there's Poppy and there's Olipop, and I did some digging into that, and Poppy is definitely a good alternative. Olipop still is clean and independent. I don't think Poppy's been bought out, but it has a lot less probiotics than they say they do, so it's already mislabeling. So it made me start to lose trust. But they have very good flavors. But Olipop, I did a post about it, and I'm not even a rep or anything. I would love to be though. But they're delicious. There's flavors that mimic regular soda. So like they do a spin on like Dr. Pepper and vintage cola, and it tastes like it, but it has tons less sugar, but also a little bit of probiotic in there for gut health. So yeah, I do get all into the health stuff.
Is there anything bad in it?
So far I haven't seen, and that's why I follow the money, and so far they're not bought. As soon as they're bought out by one of the major corporations, they usually start putting in their little spells, and so far, so good. And Kroger sells it. So Kroger sells Poppy and Olipop. So do a taste test, see if you like it. And Kroger, you got to catch the sales because, of course, if it's something that's cleaner for you and independent, it's going to cost more. So you try to catch a sale. Hard boocha. Yes, Bigfoot.
Yeah, I used to make my own.
Out. Did you?
Yeah, I used to make my own kombucha and had it all brewing up there and had the little slimy little SCOBY floating around. I did different flavors. I would do strawberry tea and all different jasmine. That turned out to be a good kombucha. You start out with the black tea, like the recipe, but then you add the flavored tea to it and you flavored your kombucha.
It's not easy to do though, is it? You have to watch over
a while.
it.
Yeah, and then you just have to strain it out. The SCOBY is kind of gross and slimy and disgusting looking, and people come over and visit and they look at you like, what are you growing?
That's awesome.
But
Yeah, so
it's good for you.
it's good for you. Someone gave me a batch 2020 and I'm like, oh, we'll make a little homeschool project out of it. And then I kept forgetting about it. We just spent our time swimming like in the pool. I'm like, oh, I have something fermenting in my garage. I gotta
There
It's
you
a
go.
lot cheaper. It's a lot cheaper to
lot
make your
cheaper.
own. Yeah.
That's
absolutely.
what happened to our apple cider. We kind of forgot about it and it turned into hard cider.
Oh, yeah. And we tasted that, and that was kind of interesting.
Oh my goodness. Yum. Oh, that'd be good. That's a good one. Was it Martinelli? Someone they make bubble apple cider. I like. That was in the glass bottle. I had that on my
Yeah.
crafty table all the time. The bubble apple juice. Yeah, I got was in that. I have memory bumps on Facebook from like 15 years ago, like when the kids were babies, and I had already started implementing it when I did craft service, like seltzer waters and with little flavors. Like I was trying to do choices. I gave people choices on set because a lot of crafties on set, it was one type of soda and like 5 types of candies, and I'm like, well, here's the whole food table and here's the package table, you pick.
Right.
And then I wound up doing mostly all clean stuff, but yeah. Oh, someone drinks Poppy. Good stuff. Olipop is too many carbs for me. Oh, I didn't even notice that. Thanks, Lori. I'll
We're
have to
going to
check on
check
that.
Kroger.
Jane's sister.
Huh?
Is that your sister?
Oh, hi,
Aw.
Lori. Yeah, this is my sister.
Aw.
Okay, so they
Lori.
have it out there. Yeah, we're going to have to check Kroger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, we need to go down there. We changed our internet services. We are now fiber optic. So we need to return all of our cable company stuff, all
the
the
gear.
equipment back in, and Kroger's right next door.
Okay.
So we'll
There you
check
go.
out Kroger and see if we can find this.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
they-
welcome in, Lori. I bet Mary's in here somewhere. Hi, Mary.
do you have Grocery Outlet? Have you heard of that one?
Mm,
No.
Okay.
mm-mm.
Us little homeschool moms love it. But they've been making the Olipops in mini size. Now I don't like that because I can chug a whole one, but for kids it's great. Because then that's like, don't waste it. It was $2.
I see mini cans of soda coming back. They had
Yeah.
that for a while, then they kind of did away with it. Now you see it all over the shelves again.
Mm-hmm. You know what's big on set now? Marchand brings home cases all the time, or canned water now. Like
Canned water.
Canned water. And it always makes me wonder. I mean, isn't the whole point of to get heavy metals out of your body? And isn't
Oh.
aluminum? I mean,
You
even
either
all
get
soda,
plastic-
all carbonation.
You
Yeah,
either get
there's-
plastic or metal.
Yeah.
I mean, they need to go
Take
back
your
to
pick.
glass. That's
Yes.
what we need.
Yes.
There's a thin coating inside each aluminum can, though, so it's not really touching the metal.
not
But I don't
touching
know if the lining's plastic or what they're spraying for a coating on the inside.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah. There's always something, huh?
I think we need to go back to glass, for everything. Miracle Whip went to plastic. Everything went to plastic.
Yeah. Yep.
The soda was amazing in bottles back in the day.
Oh my gosh, especially Coca-Colas. That's what
Yeah.
I let the giant drink. The good Mexican Coca-Cola in a bottle. Like that's the only kind I let in the house. And then I had a director that would only drink bottled water from the glass, but he made everyone else drink like Dasani or something.
Dwarfs just called that a grocery outlet.
That's true. Because you never know what you're gonna get. You'll find like some hippy dippy woo, like, wow, I only see this at Air One if I ever am lucky to shop there for $20 strawberries or something. And you find something, you're like, woohoo. And then it's like amongst like a bunch of other stuff you wouldn't normally get. Yeah. Glass is best. Yeah.
Yeah. But they got rid of pretty much all the glass factories, and
Man. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, we want the metal.
I'm seeing some stuff starting to pop back up in glass, so depending on what you're looking for.
Hmm.
So
True.
I don't know if that has anything to do with seeing the administration maybe forcing some new rules, or if they're just kind of trying to ease out of plastics.
That could be. That could be. And Roger, yeah, I think canned water was a while ago. It might have been a long while ago. I guess it's just like getting trendier. It's like more around. What cracks me up is from being on set, because I still live vicariously through the giant because he's still on set. There was such, the virtue signaling and the way of save the earth and climate, all this green. And then all this stuff happened and everything went back to individually packaged plastic everywhere. Like you could get like 5 grapes in one plastic container with a lid. Like the amount of waste and trash,
Wow.
it just quadrupled. And it's 5 years later and it hasn't slowed down. Like it's still just as bad. So they're hypocrites.
Yeah. Moon, yeah, some jelly you can still find in glass jars, but a lot of it's plastic jars too. Yeah, maybe we got to be wise in the stores. Like, there's some glass, there's some plastic. Buy the glass
Buy
one
the
instead of
glass.
plastic, because how much plastic is getting inside of us, we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. And I love those glass jelly jars. That's our whole
Yeah.
cabinet of drinking glasses.
Mhm.
We save all our jelly jars.
Yeah, I
And
mean, a
it
lot of people
becomes our
use
set.
mason jars or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, some of my mason jars, my grandmother was a big canner, and back then the mason or the Miracle Whip jars were the exact same size. So she saved every single bit of all the Miracle Whip jars, and then they caught on and they kind of changed the size and then went to plastic. And so, yeah,
Oh,
you could use Miracle Whip jars for mason jars and for canning.
huh.
She had a
There you
bunch
go.
of them.
That's perfect. That's the way to do it. Can't
Yeah,
canning's
but
a good
now you
thing.
can't find it in glass anymore, and plus they're not the same size as the canning lids.
Wow. Oh, well, like we've hit a few things already. The water, all these different things that are
Right.
toxic for us. I think the most toxic of all though is getting freaked out and like staying in that fear, panic state of stress. That'll probably get you more than drinking like plastic water bottles for a month. Like the stress of
Yeah.
worrying about it'll probably affect your body quicker than the slow drip of poison that we're getting.
Right.
Well, look at the Keurig cups. How much plastic are we getting in there every single time we make a
Yeah.
coffee? It's just a
True.
little
Yeah, and you're
plastic
heating
Keurig
it
cup.
up.
Oh, there's a little bit of everything.
This might
And
have to
then-
be your next show with Lawrence talking about plastics.
I know. Poor fella. I told him, I go, hey, can you do anything before I'm going to go on with live with Garrel and Shane? And he couldn't do it earlier. So we're actually not going to be on tonight, but we'll be back next weekend.
Okay.
So if
Yeah.
anybody, we'll do plastics. Yeah. You know what? I should write that down.
Yeah, we're wondering about your show too.
Oh, I went quiet this week, huh? And then I know you've heard a few talk texts from me of just like crumbling. So I spiraled quite a few times the past few weeks, and I pulled out of it, but it's hard. It's hard when you believe in something so much and there's only so much you can do that you're like, and it's like falls through your fingers, but it's not really yours to really keep together. You're doing everything you can do. And then you're just like, it's been a little crushing to think things are not happening the way I was hoping things would happen. Not just in my world. I'm talking about working with a bunch, working with bunch of people. And I'm trying to be covert. So yeah, I had a few moments of like, rats, it's not going the way I was hoping it would. And I have to pivot here. And then I just pull my bootstraps up and start pivoting. And then I get, it turns out okay. That Zoom I was just on was one of my close friends who's mentoring my daughter, and she kind of kept things in perspective of me, like things she's heard from me the past 3 years, how things have been going for me, and not to forget that things can be cyclical, but also know when to say when,
Right.
you don't have to put yourself through something over and over and over again.
When all this first
beat a dead
started,
horse.
you had plastics a little bit, and everything in moderation is fine because your body can deal with it. But now it's just like everything's inundated into plastics and all the chemicals and crap that we go through, whether it's in our air, water, food, storage. I mean, everything. So, I mean, that's what's nice about hopefully that maybe we can shift the direction and get back to glass or something that can be reusable instead of plastics.
Oh, yeah.
When they break down after you use them over and over. And they always tell you, don't leave your plastic bottles in your car and then drink out of it later, because that's went through the cold and hot process. And
Yes. Oh, yes. I forgot if you have Smart and Final too, the smaller, faster warehouse. It's like a mini Costco. When I'd get pallets of water for a set, I'd see them sitting out in the sun, and I was that crafty that would come in. I'd be very nice, but I'd be like, hey, don't you think those shouldn't sit in this, should go inside, or do you need extra help moving them in? I can help you move them out of the sun. And they were just like, they're fine. And I'm thinking to myself, never buy from, what's been sitting out in the sun. You don't know how long it's been there after it's been offloaded off the truck. Yeah. Can get pretty pretty toxic. And then it takes a lot of filtering, and then there's more product you're using and wasting with all these filters to filter everything out. I mean, you can't get past it. They've already had data to show that how many microplastics are in our bloodstream and our reproductive systems, like it's our brain. I think it has a lot to do with our brain health and Alzheimer's and dementia and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, we got a lot of pivots here. We got a lot of directions we can go.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
Well,
glass
let's
is the
go
best
this
way to go. Hi,
direction.
Eddie. Okay.
You were talking about your son. He likes being in plays and stuff like that.
Yeah.
How old were you when you were in the famous Groundhog movie? Tell us about that a little bit. Let everyone know that you're a famous little girl.
Oh my God. You know what's so funny is I can never really find myself. So I was like, where am I there? I think I was 14 or 15. McHenry, Illinois. It was, well, I have to look it up then.
Because I told girls, we got to try to find that clip and show
I know.
people. There's Heidi right there. There she is.
How am I going to be able to find her? She was like
where could we
13 years
find
old.
you?
Were you in the park? The park scene?
Two bits, yeah. In the center, town center, with the scene when it actually is the groundhog moment and it's wintry, and then just a walker by, like walking with a mom who wasn't my mom, like walking, yeah. And I never saw that part. I saw the part that they were filming, but it never made that cut unless you get like the extra wide screen. You know how they shoot it one way, but then the clip turns out to be like this. Yeah. That one just never counted, really. It was just awesome. And it was fun. And then mine was like a green long wool overcoat. So and I had jet black hair. Like I had the Irish black going on in the winter, really pale skin and black hair, which was like a Dorothy Hamill all the time. I had like this hair all the time, but she didn't see my face up close or anything. A good overhead view, I think you can pull me out. I'll just have to circle that and send that to you and pin it to you. Pin it and send it to you. But the real close-up-y ones, I was a little older. That Miracle on 34th Street and then the one with Joe Pesci with honors. Those are ones you can say, oh yeah, I know that girl. Like you can tell who that is in that one. Those were kind of fun. I wish I had more recall with McHenry. We shot in McHenry, Illinois, Groundhog Day, a lot of the scenes. I wish I had more memory with it. I just remember thinking like I'm on a major Hollywood movie set and Bill Murray's here and everything was just so like, But isn't it weird though? Like it would never happen this day and age, but I was dropped off and picked up. Like that would never, ever happen. And not just because parents are too like helicopter now, but like the rules of kids on set, it would just never happen. And you just punch in, you get checked in and you're like, the number of the day kind of thing. And you just hang out, you follow the little crowd around. And
yeah, I mean, you could have went there on the last day, just jumped on a bus with somebody and just, you wouldn't even have to been abducted. You could have just made a whole new life for yourself. Just wandered on somebody's bus and let's go see what
where are you going, Bill?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of cool. But the whole, they also show movies as this takes place here, like that sign you saw about that shoot coming up, that casting. Right. But then it's like done in multiple locations that look like that place. And then it's not like the whole thing isn't usually filmed in one area. And that's what happened with Groundhog. It wasn't the whole thing was there. Yeah.
Because they already shot in 2, if not 3 places before they made it to this place just for that scene or whatever.
Mm-hmm. A lot of moving parts. And I do remember though, we were at either the high school or the middle school because we were staged in the gym. Like we just hung out because there were so many of us. And then they pick us out and shuttle us to set. Yeah.
So when I was in security for the nuclear power plant, they were filming Planes, Trains, and Automobile right there in that town that I worked in.
Yeah.
So they're on the interstate. They had that little motel where they stay at, and they changed the name of it and everything on the outside for the movie and stuff. So I was there watching a couple of times, but I wasn't ever involved or nothing. But then our security firm, a friend of mine that was in there, was higher up in the ranks, got asked if he'd want to do security for an Al Pacino movie, which was shooting right after that in another location. I was going to go do that, but I didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I wouldn't have been on film or in on set or anything. This would have been on the outskirts, keeping
Just
people like
helping
me out.
Yeah.
Security get paid well too. Yes, Woodstock, Illinois. Thank you. Woodstock. Is it Woodstock, McHenry County? Is Woodstock, or
I
was
don't
it its
know.
own? Yeah.
I know
This
of
north
Woodstock,
of
but I
you.
don't know what county.
Yeah. Nice. Oh, yeah, you'd be a good guard. You are a character actor. Yeah, you could day play on some stuff easily. How is filming out there? There's it's we're grateful the Giants working, but it's still like critical mass. It's the taxes. The tax exempts are just riding people out of town left and right. And it's kind of bad
It's
all
weird
over.
around Chicago, like you were talking about, growing up around this area, Wisconsin, Chicago. It's kind of a hot spot sometimes for sets.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all of a sudden you won't hear of anything, and all of a sudden it'll be like 3 or 4 things going on.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if they move the same crew or different crews in, but they like film different movies at the same time. It's weird.
Yeah, there's probably just tons of crew, and most towns are run by their Teamsters. They're like their own mobsters. So like Chicago and New York have their own set of Teamsters, and then they'll bring in their department heads or the keys and stuff. So yeah, Chicago, Atlanta, New York, those are some big hot spots. I mean, John Hughes, he did all his films there. I'm a John Hughes kid.
Right.
I loved all those movies, and they do have their own set of crew. The Giant had an opportunity to go to Atlanta, but he was low on the totem pole. Everyone who floods out there to work, they already have crew established living there that they pick first, of course, because locals, pay cheaper than to fly people out. But I mean, that's happening all over the place. So
Right.
yeah, he's like, I got to just stay in the queue here since he's getting some work.
So he's mainly working in the California area. You don't
Yeah.
have to go out of state that often.
So far, not. He's been in
Yeah.
Arizona and Nevada. He's done those. Wherever there's, he'll drive the cranes out for them because he's a double hyphenate. He's got the camera department and Teamster. I think there's another one. No, that might be it. So he'll drive the equipment out, and some of the key department heads will fly out. But he's lucky that he's been on the last 2 shoots. Was it Spider-Man and then Green Lantern? He's working on that one, and both TV series. So when Spider-Man comes out, it's Nicolas Cage. That's going to be funny. I didn't think he was at the Spider-Man, but he's Spider-Man, and it's black and white. But he says it's pretty cool. And then the Green Lantern one. So and that was the grip that called them in. He's like, I want to work with these guys. So he's like, it's all who you know, right? Whether you're an actor or crew, it's really who you know, who you worked. You're as good as your last job, all that kind of stuff.
Well, I think it's the same thing with the cities, though. I mean, obviously they're democratic and they're a little easier going, and for unions and shuffling money around, if you want to say. So I think that's how Chicago and New York and California and gets all the movie credits just because of the way they flow as far as politics.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that makes sense. I did like both With Honors and Miracle on 34th. We were downtown, and I mean, I was hearing, you hear rumblings that, Chicago's just a great city. The layout, it's a grid. I mean, it's easy to get around, but I mean, driving through it just a couple years ago, having not been there over 20 years, I was like, holy smokes. Like, how do they do it? It's hard to shoot in a city. You really have to have crew that's trained and ready to shoot in a city.
Well, I think that's why they like Chicago and probably LA. I mean, not only is Hollywood there, but I mean, Chicago, you can be in the city and do any kind of business or series like that in there, and then you can be like an hour outside or not even an hour outside, and you can shoot a suburban neighborhood, or you go a little bit farther than that, you can be in farmland. So you had the best of both worlds just right there in your locale.
Totally. Absolutely. Hi, Jessica. I see Jessica there. Lantern Keeper. Thanks, peeps. I was in Hawaii during the filming of Tara. Tara.
Ah,
Oh,
Tora.
Oh,
Tora.
Tora,
Yeah,
Tora.
that's a
Yeah.
war film.
Oh,
Hey, Jessica.
oh,
Oh, hi,
wow.
Jessica.
Wow. So other than that movie notice you saw, it's pretty quiet. Does it
Yeah,
seem
just
kind of
that
quiet?
one, and I didn't even know about it. I just happened to find it on Facebook, actually.
Wow.
Now I joined the group for extras on
Oh,
Facebook.
cool. Do you know what's cool about that is, you just never know. You never know with any of this biz, but you could go in for like what, $70 or something small, but then they'll see you and be like, hey, just jump in here and say this line. You say one line and your rate went up to like $1,500. And you're like, oh, I can say stop.
Check this out.
The only thing I didn't like about that advertisement is like it said, they had to be in 50s. So they wanted clean shaven, no
Oh,
tattoo. I don't have tattoos anyway, but they had a whole list of things you couldn't have, which
oh,
like, come on, people had to have beards in the 50s too.
oh, for sure. Absolutely. Oh, I saw that hillbilly.
Oh
On the wrong side of
my.
Chicago. Thought I was gonna. Oh no.
That's funny.
Woo. Oh boy.
That can be in a lot of towns these days. Like, oh, that's a nice hotel. Where are we?
Yeah.
How do I get out of here now?
Yes.
We're booked here for a week.
I've got to play. What's your next biggest town? Is it Bloomington or
Bloomington, well, Peoria or Bloomington
Peoria?
normal. Yeah, because
Okay.
Chicago's like
Bloomington,
almost 3 hours away.
Springfield, Champaign.
Okay.
Yeah, Chicago
We're the
takes close to
collegey.
3 hours.
The college towns basically.
Yeah, that's right.
Well,
Okay.
Springfield's supposed to be our state capital, but it turns out that Chicago actually is. I mean, you know how that goes, but
Yeah. I know how they say it.
so
Yeah.
Springfield should be our biggest, but it's not.
Okay. Okay. Well, I was wondering if in early August you guys want to share a pizza with the giant and the kids and I. We're gonna be driving through.
Whee!
Absolutely.
Yay. I already looked it up and I'm like, okay, if we take this route going home, so we'll have to fly or not fly, but drive like really fast to my sister. She's getting married for the third time. Third time's a charm. So we'll get married up there in Wisconsin at her place and do the drive back, and we'll take the long way, head down south and hit you guys up for some pizza or something and meet in person if you can. I'd love to treat you to dinner
Oh
or
my
lunch,
goodness.
whatever time it would be.
That would be awesome.
So you heard it here first, people.
And we get to meet a real giant.
You get to meet
A real giant.
Yes, you'll finally hear his voice that I've always wanted to share with people.
Aw. I've
you wanna
heard in
say
the
hi?
background a little bit.
But that'd be awesome. Yeah, you guys always get me. Oh, I'm drooling all your pizza pictures. I'm like, you got a good spot by you. That might be great.
Well,
yeah.
Carol, you might have to pull that up and say, do you guys want to go here?
Yeah.
You could probably pull that picture up right now. Everyone wants, they don't want to come visit us. They want to go to this little mom and pop's pizza place that's in our town.
Oh my
Here we
goodness.
go.
Oh,
Here we go.
heaven.
That is our stuffed pizza.
Oh,
So we might have to go there, Heidi.
absolutely. I'm like, Simpsons. Yes, Aaron Moriarty will be there. He lives right by my sister. We're going to be there the first week of August. Woohoo! Party at Droom House. You guys would love. Do you know his channel? Do you know Truth Quest with Aaron Moriarty? Have I already introduced
No, I
you
don't think
guys?
so.
Oh my
No.
gosh, you'd love him. You'd love to talk to him. Yeah, you'd like to have. He's got a great show. He got officially booted off YouTube, so he's only Rumble now, sadly. But much like you, he has 3 shows a week and talks with community. But he had a little UFO show up in Wisconsin, where I'm from, where all my experience happened. He had seen. I'm not going to give his whole story away. Sorry, Aaron. But he's been involved in these communities for a very long time. Yeah, he's a good man.
Speaking of getting kicked off a channel, so many people have been getting hit with YouTube and everywhere. And, we've been on YouTube from the beginning, but we started not too long ago, probably less than a year ago, starting to stream on Rumble also, because I was uploading to Rumble, and that's kind of a hassle. Mm-hmm. But streaming on Rumble is kind of a hassle. You got to put the key and everything in to get it to go. And I'm getting pretty good at it, pretty fast. But we've been backing up our shows ever since we started on an external hard drive. So So wherever we go, we can't upload whatever we want or bring up other shows in case YouTube does go down. Because some people get hit by censorship and they lose their channels. And all of a sudden, oh, I never backed up any of my shows.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
No, yeah.
I just feel bad for a lot of these people that have lost their channels and all their videos are gone. I'm thinking, oh man, I mean, you don't know what the key words or the little trigger words are these days.
I know.
To get in trouble, and sometimes, I mean, you're just gone.
I know.
I don't understand how some channels specifically play movies on YouTube. And then other people just bring up clips of movies or songs, or other people play full songs, and they get nothing happens to them unless they just don't care and they just keep doing it. But the other people getting taken down just for playing clips.
I know.
Right.
I don't know how that works.
Well, look at you. You got
Happy Fun Ball.
Happy Fun Ball. Yeah, and you got strikes for Happy Fun Ball.
Yes. You start getting shadow banned and everything. Yeah.
That
and then
old commercial too.
I know. And I mean, I freaking love that one. Happy Fun Ball, Saturday Night Live. Check it out.
Yeah. You don't know what we're talking about. Look up Happy Fun Ball. Heidi got in trouble for showing it. Or it's Lawrence's fault. We'll blame Lawrence. It's Lawrence's fault.
Yes, exactly. But when you say about the channels, I think of like Tyler and Aaron and, with
Rob.
Journey to Truth, Rob Khalil,
Journey
Typical
to
Skeptic.
Truth, lost all of theirs. Yeah, they had years and years of videos.
Yes.
And they're gone. Yeah.
And it's not only, it was revenue streaming for them, but a library, history, and they're hosting all these different types of people. And then you go to these other channels that have millions of views and followers that cover the same kind of topics. They just happen to probably be owned and bought by certain people. Yeah. And it's just not fair. It's not fair. The small guy. I'm always rooting for the small guy. Well, they weren't small. They had big channels.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, like
had a huge channel. I was watching them from the very beginning before I found anyone else. I actually found Jessica through Journey to Truth and other people. So I've been watching them for years, and they're not going to be able to get that build up just like they had on just Rumble.
I know.
Oh, it's sad.
Know. Are you going to see them? Are you guys going to drive to them at all? They're going to be in Grafton.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's still a few hour drive to get down there.
Yeah.
We'd like to. I mean, I want to go down to Cahokia and film for a while and visit. Then that's not too far away.
Yes. That was a big experience. Well, if you do, even just walking through the lobby, it feels good because you meet people in person. So check it out. We were going to do a drive-through and then things shifted. But Cahokia, the first Journey to Truth, what was that, 2022? We went there the day before it started, I don't remember. It was just downtime, and it was just 4 of us ladies. And I guess it was right before. And it's the first time I really felt something from a place. Like, you can walk in a room and feel something, but this was something horribly sad that took over me. Like, I wound up feeling like I thought I was channeling. Remember that filter story from Shasta? I think I started doing that. And then I felt like the moms are over here and the kids are over here and they're crying. I was a mess. It was a really interesting experience. But I didn't even know what these ladies were talking about. Oh, we're going to go visit these mounds. Like I didn't research them. I wasn't aware of them. And then, we didn't climb up that one. We just walked around the grounds of another and just guided where we were supposed to go and just did some little healings and then walked away. But it was intense. It was an intense place. I felt a lot of intensities there. We did a lot of exploring, but something to see, something to experience. So you haven't been there yet, you're saying?
No, I've been close to it, but I never actually visited the mounds itself. So that's on my list, especially since I live in the state. It's like, my gosh. But we go to Starved Rock and Matheson State Park. And so there's a lot. Dixon Mounds. I've been to Dixon Mounds, and there's a couple little mounds that are close to us, about 30 minutes. So I've always seen them my whole life, but nothing as big as Cahokia, obviously.
Oh, I have to forward you that. It was like a TikTok or an Instagram, and it's a Native American man saying that we're actually the original Greece or original Egypt, and so are the Greeks, and so are the Romans, and and it was all America, and it made such sense. It made perfect sense. He downloaded that sucker in like a minute, and I left it going, Like
Yeah.
that makes sense. What if?
There's more people talking about that, were we Egypt and Israel over here? Israel now is not where all this took place. There's no mountains over there. The Bible talks about mountains and mountains and mountains and mountains. There's only like one big mountain over there. So everyone's kind of going, huh? There's more evidence that's coming up like, oh my gosh, was Egypt over here? We don't know. It's so interesting.
I mean, if you look, Southern Illinois has always been called Little Egypt for whatever
Cairo,
reason.
yeah, Cairo, Little Egypt, yep.
Wow.
And if you looked at where the eclipse went through Southern Illinois and all these other states, all the Egyptian, what we would call Egyptian names, just because we're used to it, Cairos and all those, that whole line where that eclipse went, the whole path is just full of those names.
Whoa.
Then the other day I was watching, digging a little deep in some rabbit holes, and I found one that talked about not only the Egyptian in the Grand Canyon, but there's Hebrew writings on some of the artifacts that they found, and even on the walls was Hebrew. So how, obviously Israel has a big Jewish population or Hebrew for a language, but when you mix the two together, it makes you wonder, it's like, okay, how did both of those end up in the Grand Canyon?
Makes you wonder. I have no answer other than I love this shit.
I know. It's just,
It's amazing.
They can go ahead and call us conspiracy tinfoil hatters. It is fun going down all these rabbit holes and then finding out they're all coming true.
Yes.
Like, hello, we're not that idiot crazy.
Yes.
It's coming true.
Like the pyramid one with the generator things going down.
Yeah.
I saw an old crew buddy post it. He's like, oh, it looks like yet another one of those things those tinfoil people were talking about is coming in the news. And I'm like, can I say told you so? Or what do you need, hon? Take it. Oh my goodness. Okay. I don't know what you're saying, but you're distracting me. Come say hi then. It's Huck in front of me.
Your son or the dog?
My son. No. Don't do anything here. It's live. Thank you. He's been making creations. I had something else I was going to say. I totally forgot. Oh, it'll come back. Maybe.
Well, you're talking about the
that.
generator underneath the Egyptian pyramid.
Yes. Just all these truths, like, oh yeah, but my daughter looking at this class schedule, there's a place we found very sovereign for high school classes for her next year, so she could go in person, because this is kind of a new avenue for us. There's no real big enrichment center or learning center that takes families that have medical choice that they're choosing, that do not want to comply or fake their way through it. So you kind of just curate your own program. So there's a place that we're signing up for so she can do in-person classes for like some serious subjects like biology and, these things you need to be in a classroom setting. But anyway, they had an American history one and we're like, swipe. Even though it's sovereign and things, I don't want her to, we don't need to learn what they say is our history. I told her, you and I can go through some deep dive a little bit and discern for ourselves and figure out history, cover the course of history and the credits you need for high school on our own. I guess until I meet this place, we'll see what they say, but they're classes that are led by mentors, and I have to meet them first. So I guess I shouldn't jump the gun and say, no, we don't want what they're putting down, but just history being taught, I'd rather learn via my own rabbit holes and research at this point.
Right.
It just keeps changing left and right.
It does.
Yeah. History is changing, and we're finding out that dates are wrong and calendars are wrong and our history is wrong and things just don't line up and match, and we find out the truth through rabbit holes and finding out ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I want the kids to ask questions. I want them to ask. And I'm not like, just Google it. I'm like, that's a really good question.
Don't Google it.
Yeah.
Don't ask AI. It will tell you lies too.
Right. Yeah. But it's like, keep that here and then look up something here. And does it align? And how does it feel? And, it is a process. It's a process to discern. It's totally. And I saw earlier, Aaron was saying he lived on a mound, Minnesota.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. Why I live in Wisconsin. Oh, angel wings. That's right. You too. I might be able to see you.
Oh,
Some
yeah.
kind of sacred ground here connected. Yeah. Yeah. I feel that here too in LA. Like there's sacred ground. As much as there's the darkness, there's a lot of sacred light here too. And some of us that get to tap into it, we know we're meant to be here. We're supposed to be here. We're
Right.
supposed to keep it activated, keep it move, keep it glowing so it
Yeah.
can ride out this little swap over of darkness.
I found the other day, or not the other day, it's been a while now, but I keep saying the other day, but most major cities in Illinois and out west, or just like Midwest generally, like St. Louis had a giant mound, connected with the Cahokia mounds, all those mound builders. Well, they destroyed it. They actually tore it down, or there's a building on top of part of it still, I believe.
Ooh.
But most of it got torn down and used for fill in, where they wanted to build other buildings to expand their city. But I found a list of like 20 other cities that had giant mounds there, and they just basically wiped them out just to make progress for their city.
Oh, geez. Well, we have a big mound in City of Industry, but no one wants to touch it because they think it's a dump that they put a park on top of. Like, yeah, don't just leave that one right there. Don't be digging into that sucker. I think we think it's an old city dump. But then they try to beautify it, and I'm like, I don't know. Well, we're by a dump, which is not pretty.
Yeah, there's a lot of those around here too. Some of the towns, their garbage is basically just dumps that they compress, and they keep making these big giant mountains out of it, and they plant grass or whatever on the outside. So eventually somebody will see it and think, oh, maybe that's maybe a mound or a pyramid, but it's just going to be garbage.
It's going to be garbage, yeah. But then, you get people tuning into it, and they'll say,
Right.
they'll be like, no. And then there's the poltergeist mounds, the movie Poltergeist, when they built on an Indian burial ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yay.
Put a swimming pool in.
That movie got me. That was a good one. And then you hear about the horror stories behind the scenes, like everybody's tragedy happened to them.
Right.
It's like, that was tainted. It was tainted before.
And that seems to happen on a lot of movies, doesn't there? It seems like there's behind the scenes, Of course, we don't know what everybody's lives are like or whatever. It might not even be connected to it might just be the movie industry itself, but it seems like certain movies have a lot of mysterious things that go on behind the scenes.
Yeah. And where you shoot, and who you're shooting with, could be spells put on the situation. And then you just have that great, amazing shoot, have that experience where from top tier down, everyone's just good people, good, kind people, just making art and making stuff. And then it's like, it's bliss. It's like, oh, this is what it's all about. No agenda, no nothing, just putting together a really cool artsy project, like the 8th graders who filmed their short films. I was like, oh, this isn't corrupt.
I mean, I wonder a lot of times, though, if that happens all the time, where you have certain people that might be high energy or in a high level of raising their vibration. Then you have these other people that are behind the scenes that are having a miserable time, and the two don't kind of collide with each other. You're like, some people have a good experience and some people have this miserable experience, or things start happening to them.
Yes.
You think that happens a lot on all movie sets, or just certain ones? Or
I think you get what you give. Absolutely. Because I felt that was part of my job description, was to raise the vibration on set. And there was only like a handful of times, that Al Gore telethon one I told you all about was one of them, where I was outnumbered. But it was just like, I don't have my people. I don't have anyone I can even ping off of the high vibe stuff. Everyone was just loosey and low and down. And sure enough, weird things would happen. People would trip, someone would get hurt. An amp fell on somebody, someone was late,
Right.
Stuff like Truman Show stuff happens. And then quite the opposite can happen in the other realm. It can just be it could start low, and then you get enough people to start bringing it up. And what started as a low day of something ripped or the reel broke or, the film got dropped or, before digital or whatever, something bad, but it would just start improving. And then you're done on time or something amazing would happen. And you're just like, oh, wow, see what we did there? We turned it around. And so, it felt part of the mission. I'd be on set like, who wants to play? Let's do this. And then most of the time it would be a good time. But sometimes I'm just like, I'm going to stay quiet today and just focus here on my little work.
Well, it's all dark in here all of a
It's
sudden.
a little dark. Yeah.
Did you ever experience a ghost in the set or behind the
Yes.
scenes?
Well,
Because I've heard stories of a lot of those places are haunted.
Yeah. The presence of, for sure, especially two places. Well, Sunset Gower Studios, which is very old Hollywood. That was one of the first places I worked, and that's really Sunset and Gower. And like Lucille Ball plaque, and all the old Hollywood. It was very Art Deco. It was old school. And I explored a lot. So I would explore often. And I remember walking in just a pathway, which was open air, but I was just walking regular in the sun, and then the cold patches, really cold patches. I'd get scared. I'd felt pulled. And then 5 steps later, I'm out of it. But it's like this consistent sunbeam and everything. It just happened to be right there. So you're like, what is that? And then you step back into it and you feel really down again and really low again. You could feel that kind of stuff. And then on set, but there was one scary time when I did a night shoot at Warner Brothers lot, which isn't terribly old, but it is right at the base of the famous, not Hollywood Cemetery, but holy smokes, I can't remember. Maybe someone might know. The one by Griffith Park cemetery there. There's Griffith Park. It's just at a base of a mountainside kind of off Barham. And we were shooting there. I don't even remember what we were shooting, but there were a lot of extras. And I was put in one of the facades. You're down the street and it's just a building, but on the back, it's just like skeleton. Yeah. It's like you're just hanging out in the rafters, literally. And so it was, a little dark and spooky or whatever. And I didn't quite roam around, but every so often I'd feel like the wind go up my hair, something happened, and shivers and cold. And then this PA came in, and production assistant, and he's like, I think I had a BlackBerry at the time. Somehow he had an app. This was old school. And he's like, I have a ghost app. We can talk to ghosts. And I'm like, because I would try to feel, who are my people when I'd get there? Like, who can I talk about my stuff with? And this kid and I, we started roaming a little bit with this app, and these words would pop up and we'd be like, oh my gosh. And then towards the end of the day, it was popping up with stuff like, get out of there soon. And like, just creepy things like, why are you still here? And leave and all. And we're like, because we were overtime and it's like 4 or 5 in the morning, the sun's going to come up in an hour. And we're like, why are we still here? And we're like, is this for real? Because we're all teasing like, oh, it's coming up with whatever it wants. But when we would walk in certain areas, it would do words that would fit that area, like I need a haircut. And it would be like a barber scene or something. And it was creepy. It was trippy. And so anyway, we're rapping, and this is in my head going, oh my gosh, is this really, are we supposed to be here? I thought if the ghosts were here, they didn't leave because they love making movies too. They want us to make movies. And so I'm rapping, and I had a little, I think my Transit at the time, and we were the only thing shooting on the lot. Forest Lawn. Thanks, Bigfoot Dwarf. That's it. Forest Lawn Cemetery. So that's kind of nearish. And so I'm leaving, and now bear in mind, I've been on these lots forever. I walk them, I drive them, I set up there, I do everything. I felt like Truman Show. I could not get out. Like, I kept, and then I started yelling like, I gotta leave. I want to leave. And then I was freaking out thinking about that app of this thing going, just leave. But I couldn't leave. Everywhere I went, I'd hit a wall. I go into the next thing. I go to a closed gate. I was like, and I didn't see any of the other crew around me. It was just me. So I don't know if I was in this little time warp, but I finally surrendered. I'm like, okay. I believe you are here. I get it. I made some money. I just want to go home now. I'm tired. Like, I appreciate you. Thank you for all your service. I was saying whatever I could. I was crying. I'm like, I just want to get out of here. And I make a turn. I'm like, oh yeah, there's the exit. But it's not a huge lot, but I really felt like I was getting like messed with. like turned around and like, ooh.
Wow.
So yeah, that's my ghosty Warner Brothers story.
So speaking of Forest Lawn,
Uh-huh.
I was telling Bigfoot Dwarf not too long ago that I found a picture of, and I don't think I have it on this computer. I wish I did, but it was a statue during the 1893 World's Chicago Fair, the Columbian Expedition. There was a statue of George Washington, I think it was, and it was in the main art exhibit. It was a full-size statue, big.
Mm-hmm.
And it is now in Forest Lawn on top of a monument there in LA.
Really?
So if you want to go look at a piece of old history from Chicago Expo, you can go to Forest Lawn and look up that George Washington statue on. I think it's right as you come in. It's a great big statue for the cemetery itself, and it has George Washington on top.
I probably have seen it many times, and it didn't even dawn on me. How the heck? So is that the last thing standing from the World's Fair?
Oh no, there's all kinds of stuff. There's other statues in Chicago itself, other towns. Whole buildings got moved because like a brewery distributor would put up a little shack or whatever for their customers or whatever, drink beer or get tickets. The family, like I think it was like Schlitz or whatever, took that building because they owned it, because they built it, and they moved it back and put it on their property.
Huh.
So little things like that, even art displays that nobody, if the people that presented them or donated them to the fair, if they didn't want them back, they were auctioned off. So they scattered everywhere.
Wow. So all the stuff made it out. I think you guys did a show about that. Wasn't even with Bigfoot, I think, or when you were talking about
and Latchkey and Bigfoot.
With Latchkey and Bigfoot. That's it. But that was, they had all of the energy and the buildings. Like, how the heck did they? Oh yeah, we just built this in 18 months or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Most of the time,
and then they're gone.
History, it's built within a year or 2 years. You're going, huh?
It's like, what? They can't even build next door. Like these little.
Exactly.
Jeez.
Donkey Incorporated.
Yes. Again, that's like the homeschool history lessons I like to talk about. Make them start guessing and asking questions, not regurgitating facts that they want us to know as facts.
So that makes me wonder if the other World's Fairs, whether they were out in California or New York, whatever, did they do the same process with all the stuff that showed up there? So maybe they're scattered out all over and you just have to find them.
Oh, makes you wonder. Yeah, I would think so. Because it just sounds like they wanted to level things and start over and be in control. Yeah.
Well, Heidi, I had a thought last night and I mentioned it to Carol. We're on Rumble doing old movies. Well, these old movies, you're looking at all these old buildings, old world buildings that aren't here anymore, but they're in the 1940s, 1950s movies. So I'm looking at all this stuff. And it just dawned on me like, Hollywood is a part of all this. And I bet they did movies in a bunch of these old buildings. And when they were done with the movie, tore everything down saying it was just a movie set.
Oh,
and they were a part of getting rid of a bunch of these old world buildings.
Total easy cover up right there.
Yes.
That makes sense.
We built this. This was our movie set. No, it wasn't. It was old world buildings and you were using them and then destroyed them after the movie.
Oh, wow.
I just had that thought last night and I went, ooh.
That resonates.
Yes.
I mean, they've done that with towns, haven't they? And then it turns out, no, the town had like a toxic leak and they just didn't want to pay the people till they're going to be sick soon. So they just like, oh no, we're getting rid of the town. It was a movie set. And then they hush money, send people out.
Buildings in those movies, the beautiful fireplaces and the inside, just magnificent inside. And I bet they just destroyed them after the movie. Went, yeah, it was just our movie set.
There's a 3 brownstone. I think I told Jane this the other day, right across from Wrigley Fields, the original Wrigley Fields.
Uh-huh.
And they're getting ready to tear them down.
What?
They're like 3 or 4 stories,
Yeah.
And they had the rooftops for the
partied in there.
We're gonna tear those down and put high-rise apartments, and I think the top part's going to be again for viewing the games or whatever. But I mean, they're tearing and they're the old big stone buildings.
Criminal.
Yeah. Little by little, they're disappearing on us.
That's awful. That's Chicago. My favorite. I did art history. at DePaul, and one of my favorite classes, we did the boat along the river there inside, and then we did a tour of the architecture, history of Chicago architecture, and it was fascinating.
Right.
Absolutely fascinating, but it also just you could see the generation change to know that they're going for the oldest, most, and tearing those down. That's just awful. That's awful. Someone has a great meme of old architecture and Victorian, beautiful, ornate stuff, the hand craftsmanship, especially Viking stuff and everything. And then today, and it's like Kanye beige, Kardashian metal, just like flat, beige, robotic, boring. It's like, what the heck? That's not advancing.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we're advancing? We can't build cathedrals these days.
And the bells
Yeah,
that they
bells,
started burying.
the stained glass, the beautiful details of all the little stained glass in these cathedrals. Sorry, we can't do that today.
Isn't this great? Yeah.
They just put up a Morton building, call it a church. I mean, we've seen that too. They just put up these metal buildings and, fix it up on the inside and poof, okay, we're done.
Yeah. Or they're like, it's modern.
Yeah, all the bells, all the healing bells.
Awful. Yeah, that's the history. I hope you're listening. I think my little one's listening. I just curated our new high school class for next year. Hey, that could be part of the little side hustle I do. Like, what do I call it? The tinfoil
Blue Devil swag?
Pardon?
Do you have any Depew Blue Devil swag?
Depew. I don't have any swag from there. My dad had a DePaul sweatshirt he wore.
DePaul,
Is that what yeah, he was with the all. I was a blue demon. I danced for the Blue Demons for my first year. My dancing buddy was Jill Ritchie, Kid Rock's little sister. So I met his family. Like they're like affluent Michigan town, and very kind family though. Like he actually is very genuinely a nice. Well, I didn't personally meet him. I met his parents. But anyway, yeah, I don't have any more swag. Yeah. He had a sweatshirt. I don't know where it went. And I had a sweatshirt too. I don't know where that went. No swag. I wasn't a very good student there. I just loved being in Chicago. I snuck out of class, went to matinees, went to the Lincoln Park Zoo. That's where I spent a lot of time. I know. It was funny. I was learning how to be a teacher, and I snuck away all the time. Like a life experience. That's how you do it. Yeah. I did live on campus. My first year I was in the dorms, and actually second year I was in the dorms too. But then third and fourth, we lived like right around there. And then I kept jumping apartments. I had like 9 apartments in like 7 or 8 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. My favorite was Andersonville, though, north of Foster and Clark, kind of. I loved that little town. That was pretty cool. Old school Chicago. And it's ironic. I lived across from a cemetery there on Winnemac. If any Chicagoans know that big cemetery at Clark and Winnemac. I lived across from that. Then I moved here. I had an apartment with my kids. I brought them home from the hospital. I was across from the Valhalla Cemetery on Clybourne. So I'm like, maybe that's why I'm a filter in Shasta. I'm always around cemeteries. But yeah, there's cheap rents.
Hey, Amber.
Hi, Amber.
And TKB. He snuck in.
TKB.
And May.
Yep. They're all coming in little by little. They're sneaking in on me.
Hello, peeps.
Hello, peeps.
Good to see you, peeps.
So did you ever hear any folklore while you were up in Chicago, Wisconsin? Like, Resurrection Mary was big still then, and
that story was a big one. That came from my aunt, really, my mom and my aunt. The Resurrection Mary one on the North Shore. Was it North Shore you'd see her at night. They still talk about that, I think.
Oh yeah.
Like that's still a big one. Yeah. So those kind of bits. I didn't have those experiences. My time in Chicago was very self-centered. Like I was partying / drama and artist and, doing my own thing. So I wasn't as in tune to any of that stuff.
Well,
but
usually sometimes college kids, they'll tell stories like that. They'll hear, folklore, and they'll kind of pass it around the dorms or houses or, and about, especially if they know you're into that stuff.
That's true. Well, yeah, I didn't express very much that I was at the time. I was really just trying to fit in or make some buddies, or I was stalking my ex-boyfriend from high school. Like I was just really I was just trying to figure out life. I was trying to not go across the street to Amico in the middle of the night and get my Ben and Jerry's. I'm like, one night a week, just don't do it every night. Like I was so involved in my little, like my first time away from home that I didn't, I did have it. Oh, I have a cool encounter though. This might be trippy. This might be tours. So I had apartment days. I was more of a junior then, but I got a job at a tanning salon, a tanning and rollerblades, and we were on Division. Diversey, and close to Sheridan, but Diversey and like Clark Hall, like all the big 6-point turnaround, and there was a Bally's around the corner. But anyway, I went there to get free tans. Really, I'm like, work somewhere where you can get free things. So it was always like, one for you, one for me. Anyway, I got a stalker there. Like I wound up having this stalker guy, and he was like obscenely tan. Like there was a point that I would ask my manager, I'm like, do you tell people to stop? Like, can he come every day? He's like, no, there's rules. But there were these shifts I got put on later and later. Just, I don't know why it happened to be that way, but I was on the late shifts for a little while, and it was quiet except for this guy. Anyway, he came in once. I was very polite, but I did comment like, oh, be mindful of, the things you sign in. When you sign in, it does say you have to wait like, I don't know, 48 hours or something like that. And the way he snarled at me, I got scared. I'm like, oh shoot. And so I called my manager as he's in the bed, and I'm like, I think I upset that one guy. I'm not really comfortable. And they're like, as soon as he gets out of the bed and leaves, just lock up and go. It's the only one you've had. Just go. And I'm like, okay. So, and I was a bike rider, so I bike ride or walked everywhere. I didn't have a car there. And so I locked up and I walked out, and I start walking up Division, and he turns the corner and he walks right in front of me. And speaking of poltergeist, he almost looked like the Crypt Keeper guy, but like a young version. The sunken eyes and bald. He was bald and super, super tan, but he was freaky. This was the first time where I was like, not do I have superpowers, but there's something bigger than me. But I walked into him and I felt like his energy go whipped through me, but like up and over. But his face stopped, and he was here, and he was like panicking. Like he came at me hard, and then all of a sudden he was freaking out. And I saw his face go from panic to like he didn't know what was happening to him. And then it was like he got scared. And I was just standing there like in my power, like, okay, you got this. Like I was just thinking to myself, I went still. And he freaked out. He took off, and I never saw him again. And I remember shaking, crying, going home like fast as a mofo. I walked the busy streets. You have to walk a certain way and be a certain way in the city. I always had my keys like this. But that moment was so fast that I'll never forget the energy exchange of like something bigger than me, I think, scared him. It was just like, whoosh, it overtook. And I got home. I cried my eyes out, but then I got really like, wait, well, how did that happen? I shouldn't be here. Like that, he was coming for me and I wasn't touched. And then I was like, did I do that? Isn't that crazy cool? Yeah. It was just, I have his face in my head of like, even if I've had flashbacks of, moments in time where you're like, things could have gone really bad another way. Driving home recklessly. It's like just little stupid things. But that incident, I'm like, how did I get through that? I think that I had some help on that one. So that was, and I was good to the city. I talked to the city. I was very much, it seems like I'm a bubbly, outgoing, super social person, but I was most comfortable with my headphones and my Walkman and just walking the city and admiring the city and loving on the buildings, loving at the zoo, loving the parks. I also had I was battling a lot of depression, a lot of bipolar. So I spent a lot of time by myself processing, but I could have been spending that time, building my spiritual team. I don't know, but maybe the city protected me in that moment,
Right.
But that was crazy. Yeah. His eyes went from, I got her to, oh, it's happening to me. Oh my God, I don't know what's happening. And then he took off. And I was like,
Wow. Did you see him after that?
never. He never came again.
Wow.
I asked my manager. I got taken off that shift. I even said I'm not coming in for a little bit. He was upset too. He was this hippie dude, and he's like, "I'm sorry." He goes, "I gotta watch this. Who I put when, and if you're giving me warnings." He stepped up his game too, but I just remember asking. He had so many credits left. He'd buy like those month passes, and he never came back and used anything ever again. So
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Maybe you wiped him out.
you know, or what? Or am I like, what's part of me that I don't know? Maybe my shadow side really came out. I was like, got him. Yeah.
So did he look like the old man on like Rainmaker?
I don't think I saw Rainmaker, but
I think that's the movie. I can't remember now.
oh,
Real creepy old guy. It's like,
really
oh my
creepy.
God.
Yeah, because he had like the sunken look, but he was younger, but not that young, but beyond tan, like scary leather tan, but crazy bright blue eyes, like crazy piercing eyes, but not in a pretty way. He was very and big. He was tall. He could have taken me down, but he was leather. Yeah, he might not have been Robin. I mean, really come to think of it. And my little guides got me that day. I mean, I just felt so like, and I was mad at myself. I'm like, I knew better. My whole being when he was in there, I was like, I got to leave. I should lock him in. I should leave. And I wasn't listening to all that, but I was talking myself into like, being prepared and asking for assistance, like, okay, I didn't ask. Now I'm specific, ask for specific angels and guardians to come in sometimes. But at the time it was just like, trying to muster the strength to walk outside. I didn't know he was hovering, waiting for me. So, but making it through that moment was something that I still question. I'm still like, you just never know.
I think me and Jane was in, I don't know I can't remember if it was Walmart. Do you remember where we saw that guy? It was all black.
Kroger.
And he was looking in the freezer department and he just sat there and did not move. And I started noticing him.
He stared at the frozen pizza, not looking up and down. He was just standing there in front of the frozen pizzas, just staring there.
Oh, wow.
Not moving, nothing, expressionless. And then he I think he noticed our energy was going towards him and he noticed and he kind of started turning and it's like, that was creepy. So we just like,
it was like a zombie. Yeah.
I don't even know if he was human. I don't know what the deal was.
Yeah. Even just the feeling that you would get off of him, like it was just odd. Yeah.
And when you say all black, that kind of resonates. I think that fella, he would wear all monotone colors. And I didn't even think of that, Robin. Yeah, maybe he wasn't even human. I just thought he was a creepy dude. Maybe he wasn't human.
Billy Herb. I spent a lot of time staring at the frozen pizza.
That's awesome.
Maybe he was jealous, like staring at the pizzas like, man, I'm not human. I really would like to have this pizza, but I can't have it or I wouldn't enjoy it.
Or he's looking at it, sucking in the energy like
he
was trying to eat it.
I don't know. I just feel like some people, you just look at them, they just don't look human. And years ago, you just not think about it. Well, these days, you just gotta, like, oh my gosh, I think there's something wrong with that person.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
They're just not all there. It used to be a few bricks short of a load. Well, I think half the load's gone or more. More than one shingle's gone, that's for sure.
Well, have you always had that like personal space where you could detect something like that happening to you? Or is that something you developed later or?
It feels a lot like even being a child in Oregon. Like I did really take care of my special space around me. And I have a scary ability of detachment pretty quick. When you're in dreams and you can pull yourself out, all these things. But sometimes in life too, like I'm just immediately pull out. And so I'm wondering if that experience as a child, if those little experiences did give me a little bubble. Was very, very sensitive child to so many things. And I didn't know it at the time. It was like other people's energies and energies in the room. I didn't know that. I just thought, oh, she's sensitive. She's, someone talked at me wrong, I'd cry, like it was just,
Right.
it was a lot. So I probably was developing this over time and not quite knowing it. And school was really tragic in a lot of senses. There was a lot of tragedy that did happen, and I wasn't being totally myself. I was I'd chase to try to like face these awful feelings to work it out. And so I felt in that moment with like that incident with that guy, it was the first time I had an apartment with my friends. Like I was kind of like feeling my first steps of adulthood in a way, and a job, and like stuff like that, where I felt so like getting bigger. But I was mad. I'm mad I put myself in that position. So I think I was picking up on him each time he'd come in. Like the first time I saw him, like, this is weird. And then the way he would look at me, it was like, okay, I know. Like, no, I'm not going to go out with you. But no, meaning like it was inappropriately staring for too long. But then time and again, he'd come in and come and come and come and come. And I should have known better. But I did feel gross. I felt not like he's just flirting and about to ask you out on a date or something, but I felt gross, threatened.
Right.
Hi, Talca. Hi, nice to see you. So, long story longer. Yeah, I think it started as a kid. Like I think that's when you're going through all these instances to get that field stronger and stronger. So whatever that was in that moment did wake me up enough to go, that was bigger than me. And I wouldn't have said that before that moment. It was too much of a moment to not see that, not experience.
Have you ever had the ability to expand your bubble to influence the area you're in?
Since being a mom, I've done that. I feel like that. I can do that in a way. I know when they're sick, or that time we were on the airplane even, and it was really scary. I just felt my presence going out, starting from here and pushing it out, and just bringing in the kids, bringing in what I can, and detaching almost like
Right.
Incredibles, the mom with the
Right.
rubber. Yeah, very.
Yeah.
I feel that sometimes. And
or even Groot.
Oh yeah.
Weave your thing around them and protect them.
Yes.
How old were you when this happened at the salon with that man?
I had to have been about 17.
Okay, I was guessing
17.
late teens. Okay, so
Yeah.
how old were you when you experienced the Sasquatch? Because that Sasquatch knew you had abilities even as a young little girl. So that I'm putting things together. I'm putting pieces together.
And I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't help me, because that man was like looking up around here over me, and he was big. I was about 6.
6.
That was about a 6-year-old thing.
Okay, then they picked up that you had special abilities then.
That's what that's my Squatch story. I stand by that as a cool experience, an energetic exchange. Yeah. It was more special than anything scary. And I mean, I have heard story from children who get scared in a moment, and some say they can't if they don't have a frame of reference, but not if it's an energy that's scary, they'll pick up on that.
Right.
That was not scared in that moment. Yeah.
Well, also they don't want to scare us, so they knew that you weren't going to be scared when he showed himself to you.
Yeah. That's why I feel that too, very much so. I've told my kids that, and I teach the class kids that, like in an experience, like, well, how did it make you feel? Like that is the first thing you really ask yourself. Was that like when we would come back to class after like a quake or the fires or any kind of that situation, the check-in was like, what was your body's response to that? And I want them to keep getting in tune with that.
Yeah, not keep it inside, share it. Yeah.
Share it and check in with yourself before you get all the external noise. Check in with yourself. And some of the kids can really ground themselves really quick. No matter the situation, they can, if it's something unfamiliar, they'll just check with their body. Like, am I aware? Am I present? Am I listening? Am I feeling? Am I here? Just so that they can, it's like with our play, all the talk was about acting is confidence. And that's all it's about, being confident and reacting. You're a good listener. You're a listener more than you are saying words. You're listening, you're reacting, but everything's done with confidence. And so they're in their regular life, they're really reacting, not just out of emotion now. They're reflecting and reacting. They're listening and reacting.
Right.
And just that breath between the two can be a life or death decision, and that's what we really want them to do, is get their little fields in check, make their own internal. Someone's talking about in the class about, yeah, my mom's phone went off, and then everybody got scared. And I shared with them, I go, to be honest, I was fine in the first moment. When my phone went off and was telling me it was going to get scary, I got scared. And I go, I should listen to myself, huh? And they're like, yeah. And I said, I made the situation a lot worse for my kids because I reacted to this tech thing instead of what I was actually experiencing. So checking ourselves is key to all this stuff.
Yeah,
and I think
even with new experiences, I mean, we get in our head so much and make things we don't even know is going to happen. We become afraid, or don't want to do new experiences because we have this fear put in ourselves that we build up. I mean, if you can teach that to a kid, do the same thing with the bubble. When you go into a new experience, like, trust yourself. No matter what happens, you'll be okay.
Mm-hmm. That's a huge one. My dad used to always tell me too, is to, I know time is an illusion, but he would say in stressful situations, like an audition or something, he's like, and how many seconds out of your life will this be? Or how many minutes? He would make it so like, this is a blip, like you can get through this moment and this too shall pass. And so it can go with tragedy and trauma and like those fires. Like it was a moment, it will pass, but how you handle yourself in that moment is how you're treating yourself. Are you in that fear state of being, or are you consciously paying attention and reacting? And I hope that, I don't even know what you asked. I
just new experiences on how to guard yourself, don't build it up in your mind that's going to be a horrible thing, and not want to experience it. I mean, I did that in my life. I got offered a lot of jobs that probably would have been cool and great, but it's like, I don't really want to do that, or I don't want to take the time to go there. But I mean, just like Mitsubishi, when I worked at the automobile plant, I wasn't going to go there either. I didn't want to do it. And my dad said, well, you might as well try it, because everybody's saying it was only going to be there for 10 years if you're lucky, or, and so I didn't really want to invest time into it if it's not going to be a long haul. And 27 years later, I was there for 27 years.
Aw.
Yep, until they closed up.
Oh. And now, what did my friend just like? We had to get a car before the tariffs. All the tariff stuff's been kind of interesting to watch people implode. Not to totally change subject, but again, people need to check with themselves. They immediately go into this reactionary thing without, I don't know, taking it all in first.
Well, eventually it'll all smooth out in tariffs. I mean, there'll be plants opening back up, dealerships back in the U.S., so there won't be tariffs on those cars.
That's what I was explaining to the kid, is bringing the work back here, getting more people work, and then the costs will go down because we're not paying for that overseas shipping anymore.
Right.
And I mean, you can get into all the ethical discussions about it and stuff, but the reality is we do have to take care of our people here. We have to take care of the gazillions and trillion, sorry, I exaggerate, probably million veterans on the street, what's going on here. We can get everybody work and get everybody comfortable. I try not to go all geopolitical anymore.
Right. I mean, that's what happened to our job. I mean, it was a Japanese joint venture with Chrysler here in Illinois. Mm-hmm. And eventually Chrysler bailed out, and it was just the Japanese Mitsubishi Motors. But during the Obama years, it became cheaper for them to not have a plant and workforce in the U.S. and just ship cars over.
Isn't that crazy? It just boggles my mind. Giant's got a buddy like that in Wales who'll buy cars here to ship them over because he's like, no, it's cheaper, the shipping stuff, which never made sense to me until you know all the things that they're shipping in the containers, and they need to keep those ships full. They're like, well, we'll make it cheap. Let me put on my containers too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I do see that, it's the fall, not the calm before the storm. If we're in the storm, things will balance out. Yeah.
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 Well, like you said, this too shall pass. I even
Mhm.
raised our kids with that.
Yes. That
This
was a
too
big
shall
one.
pass.
Yes. That was going to maybe be a tat. It's been a long time since I had a tat. And then I'll just be like, oh yeah, this too shall pass. And come on, Pop. Because I used to be like, come on, Pop. When the going got tough. So yeah. Yeah. Sharing that with them when they're asking these questions about this stuff and why did it change the Gulf of Mexico? All these kinds of
Mhm.
things about what's going on, giving them the bigger picture that they wouldn't get in a normal school,
Right.
giving them what led up to it, what could be potential outcomes, choices. It gives them a bigger picture of what's actually happening on. Should I mute right now? Like, what's going on over there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can explain to the chat that no, you're a teacher, not in a public school. Explain this
Oh,
special kind of school that you actually
yeah,
have.
it's a learning
Yeah.
and enrichment center. So we have a bunch of homeschoolers. So we do have sovereign homeschoolers, and they really started finding this place like I did because of what happened in 2020 and stuff. They're also the education model is based on the mind, body, will of the child. And it uses Rudolf Steiner philosophies. So it's very much the will, it's the thinking mind, the will to do something, and the limbs to do. I mean, that's my lesson plan this week. I'm doing the human and animal and finding the spirit animal. So it's
Aw.
all about, the thinking, the head, the feeling, the heart, and the will, the arms, the limbs to do. So it's all like immersive education, doing, thinking, feeling, experiencing. And really the job of my at this learning center, and really anywhere that anyone can do this, is to educate a child by finding what their innate skills are. And then you bring those to the surface. Because every child is different. So no one's going to have the same model of education. But if you're kind, and if you let a child be heard and let them speak and share their thoughts and let them experience things in real time, like building and cooking and filming movies like my kid did and writing books, and
Right.
the education comes with that. It just
Yeah.
naturally does. That's what it's true. We've just going through so many generations now that have been programmed with this education system. So people always, want my opinion on the education department going down and stuff. I'm like, doesn't align. I'm not a part of it. So it can do what they want, but let them expose where the money's really going. But also we're raising a new generation of children who are thinking. They're thinkers, they're feelers, and they're doers. They're not followers. So that's
Yeah,
the
here in
beauty.
Illinois, they're changing. They're trying to change it anyway. They're trying to put it in law for Illinois anyway, that homeschool now has to report everything to the state and the
I hope you don't
curriculum
change
and everything.
Oh, geez.
Where before, like when we homeschooled our youngest, yeah, we had a curriculum that we followed, but they didn't really check on us. They didn't really,
We did our own thing.
We did
I just
our own
followed
thing.
this Illinois guidelines of what classes she was supposed to take through high school. Yeah. And
They do
it's
have.
sad that they're taking control over the homeschooling now, and you got to report everything in.
They're trying. Here's Bo. They're trying. They'll give us, if you go through a charter or if you homeschool, they will check in. Will show us a work sample, show us this. And depends on who you get, but talk about alignment and staying in tune and calling in that which you need. We have our charter lady, because I finally signed up for charters 2 years ago. The Giant was even like, why wouldn't you go through a charter? Get the money that you're owed. We pay taxes, and because you get a stipend to pay for your courses and things. Before I wasn't even part of anything. And so I'm like, yeah, I'll just sign in. And then I called in this amazing lady who's kind of like my mentor for homeschooling. And what she asks of us is so minute compared to these other families that go have other ladies that are like, meet every month, show me all their work. Now you got to show more of this. She's just like, so what do you want to share this month? Or do you have something about math? And I'm like, sure. He was cooking this and figuring this out, and she was working on sacred geometry. She's like, amazing, perfect. Like it's it. It's like I'm like, oh. So she's gonna handhold me through high school too. That's why I know we're gonna be okay. So she is going to help us check off the boxes. So there's a graduation, but not in the standard form, like not in the way that the textbooks tell you to. Like our whole education model, this 1 through 8 that I'm in now, they make their own textbooks. It's based off drawings and lectures and the things they experience. We don't buy it. We don't have any curriculum books come in. The educator tells stories and draws and shares their human experience, and then brings in source and stuff, and the textbooks create themselves, really. And they're beautiful. They're works of art, actually, by 8th grade, total works of art, like maps. And
Wow.
there was talk of Atlantis and talk of, Tartaria, like Land Before Time. What if? Everything's like a what if. What do you think about that? And it makes for some really exciting conversations with kids, because they go there. They want answers, but they know sometimes they have to come up with the answers themselves or find it themselves. And that makes them question the world, which is what you want them to do. The old system hushes them. We're asking for them. I'm very curious about what you think about this. Tell me. And kids are like, I don't know. No one's asked me for my opinion. So, yeah. That's where we go. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's weird because they're, they even want you now, evidently, with this new law that, that you have to turn in tardies if you're not going to do your school plans for the day. It's like, really? It's like, I mean, you can study you're homeschool, you can study any time of the day you want. It's not like it's from 8 to 3 or whatever,
Yeah, they're trying to get control of it because it's taking off.
Mm-hmm.
It's everywhere. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the smoke shops. I knew when that got legalized, they're going to control the product. So I'm like, I want the homegrown. Don't touch it. But then now it's like homeschoolers is huge here. They've got lowest numbers they've had for enrollment in public. And
they lose a lot of money per kid that they get from the states of these schools. So they don't want these kids out of these public schools. They're losing money.
They're losing money. And then like we're seeing with Doge, like they're not getting all the money anyway. What, 25%, I think, of the $250 billion budget went to actual schools. The rest was unaccounted for. So
right. It's a racket, just like everything else.
Yeah. Oh, my mom friend, she finished her homework. Awesome. Yay. I knew she would. We're going to celebrate her birthday tomorrow. Aw. You're so
David
cute.
Lee Roth, I don't feel tardy.
Maybe Lee Roth. Aw. Or tardy to the party. Yeah, it's like she brought up the homework thing. So since we just finished, Norse mythology and all that stuff and Viking, I mean, I took down the room and everything. We were covered wall to wall and like drawings and paintings and fabrics and trees of life everywhere and stuff. And it's like a blank canvas almost. Still everything's green and plants. But going into human and animal, we're going into consciousness. Like we're going into the relation of and just not like anatomy or anything. Really, the kickoff is the threefold, the mind, body, will. And so I asked them, I go, just come back Monday with like your 3 favorite animals in the world, like just something that you can share. And like, how do they walk? How do they talk? What do they sound like? What's that kind of thing? Because it's going to lead into a project where I love them making things, like little shoebox habitat, like pick a favorite. What?
I'm getting distracted by chat. Dorothy, does tardy mean Tartarian? Not for teacher, David Lee Roth.
That was a good video. I like that song.
Oh my God. I love you, chat.
Give me something to write on.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Tartarian.
That's awesome.
I shouldn't even look at chat. We're trying to get
it's
Heidi.
The best. That's the favorite. That's the best part. This chat is awesome. They're epic.
Yeah, we got a good community.
Yeah. They're good peeps. I want to hear from them. What's some of their favorite animals? I want these kids to go far with it. And this project is going to be about the animals they picked this weekend. So just so you know, for Miss Sophia, it is going to be random. I'm going to ask them to try to call it in because they're going to randomly pick. And I go, that's the spirit animal. Because might all pick like dolphin, kitten, I'm I'm like, no, I'm going to have my little bag of tricks and we're going to
Right.
call in what is the best one? What is the most perfect one for you? And I'll hold my crystals and everything. And then they can pick. I go, cool, there's your research.
Somebody's going to pick a Sasquatch.
Yeah, I should put one of those in there. We'll keep that wide open. So they asked me, I've had a kid ask me at our picnic lunch if I've seen a Bigfoot or Sasquatch.
Oh.
And you know, I read it for a minute and I notice no one goes like, oh, they're all like just continuing eating and they're like, and then I'll just say, well, I've had experiences where it makes me feel like I had that kind of encounter. And then as they continue eating, they're like, yeah, my mom had one too. Or the other one, like, yeah, my dad had too. Or like, I don't know about that. You know, they just share their thoughts. And that's the whole bit of having a safe space like that. Just let them speak and be heard and not scare them, you know.
Right. Yeah, I wonder if anybody's wonder if any of them will pick a Bigfoot.
Oh, I wonder.
I know.
That would be so cool. Yeah. They've talked about crafts in the sky or, you know, they just, yeah, the
Miss
kids are
Heidi.
amazing.
Miss Heidi, isn't Sasquatch an animal?
You know what? I'll probably share something like that. We'll be like, let's talk mammals and animals now. What's a Sasquatch? Millions of minds want to know. What do you guys say?
I mean, you
Because this is
definitely
a
have to
debate.
share the Native American spirit animals, whether it's
Yes.
the wolf, the bear, the buffalo. I mean, the deer.
Eagle.
Yes, I think those are most of the names. We're also going to make Native American masks and dream catchers, everything to go along with their spirit animal, and then they make the habitat. But they are coming back Monday with I mean, that way they can bring in their own things, even if they're similar, like a kitten or you know,
Right.
unicorn, anything like that. And then the project will be separate from this, but it's getting them thinking about this animal, how they behave, how they function in this world. And then we're going to go into the parts. We're starting with like the human, but then, you know, there's the head animals like a cuttlefish and an octopus, you know, that beautiful documentary on the octopus. We're going to have them. That's like a homework thing. It's so beautiful. And it's like, they're just they're not a walking, but they're just a head.
Yeah.
Limbs. You know, then clams are just like, that's just the head. But we reach the stars, we pull in the earth, you know, we have all that. Now, what other animals are like us? Sasquatch. No.
I mean, that's the amazing thing. You know, you talk about spirit animals, but also spirits of animals. I mean,
Nice.
we've all had dogs that are just a dog. It's just like, okay, it's like waiting for us to give it input so it knows how to react. But then all of a sudden you see that one dog that you look into its eyes like, man, somebody's home. There's a living soul that's like, I don't know if it's reincarnation or its own spirit or something. But at that moment, when you're looking into its eyes, it's like you can see the emotions.
Oh, I think of my cats for that. And I know my friend Chrissy, she had pets like that. Yeah, I feel that. And I feel Bo came to our life at a certain time that he might very well have a little bit of my dad. He might have a little bit of, yeah. They have their own spirits attached. Yeah.
Roger said, knowing my luck, my spirit animal would end up being an old crow.
Yeah.
You know what's so funny, Roger? I had a couple little, like, not even QHHT. I wasn't put under, but these little meditations, and honey badger kept coming up. And so I was like, that makes sense.
We've been here. Yeah, Jessica gets calls from her teacher quite often from her son questioning things.
No way.
Sharing what his mother does.
Yeah. Ben, please come to the office, Ben.
I hope they're learning, Jessica. I hope they don't like slap you on the wrist for it or anything.
I just think he's only 10 or 11. Wait till teen years.
Hillbilly Herb, that's exact it. Honey Badger, don't care that video. That's what my sister sent me after I told her. That's such a good one. But that honey badger was told to me in a time that I was in survival mode. So it makes sense. So I wonder if your spirit animal can change too, like at different points of your life.
Absolutely. I mean, it depends on what you need at the time. I mean, some people don't even have just one spirit animal. I mean, you can have the owl for knowledge and wisdom. You can have the wolf for, you know, being the protector, you know, when you're out in the fields, or your guide, or, I mean, there's just so many different ones, and each time you build up a part of your personality or what you're going through life, you can have multiple, or one will be more predominant. It'll take over.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. You'd love this. I actually have a girl in class. Um, I've shared about her before, just how in tune the mom is too. Other than the amazing mom that's here, is another mom that's very in tune. She's seen a couple of things I've done. She talks about all that kind of all the stuff. Anyway, her daughter has a big obsession with owls, and owls everywhere. And so the mom was helping me paint one of the panels for the play. And I go, has she been seeing those in the window at night? Like, isn't that like a telltale sign of abduction or something? And I go, what color are they? And, she goes, come to think of it. Yeah, I think when she was little, she started seeing owls in the window. And I was like, she's like, I know, right? And they have these crazy green eyes. And I mean, her daughter has this like kindred thing with owls. It's kind of cool. So maybe I'll ask her
owls.
to.
They show up here a
Yeah.
lot. We got the little tiny little screech owls that look like little baby. They're tiny.
Oh, yeah.
And we trill it back and forth. And then it was last fall we caught that big giant great horn owl on our Martin house.
Wow.
And
Beautiful.
he was big. I mean, just seems like they like hanging out here too.
Wow. That's beautiful. That owls are gorgeous.
And I'm not scared of it. Yeah, people say, oh, they're bad omens. It means something.
I know.
Or they're aliens. I'm going, I don't believe that. They're owls. They're just owls.
Yeah. Yeah. The Resident Alien had that as part of one of their episodes, that the owl was hanging out watching her sleep, and then she started getting abducted. So I was like,
now, if it was a big black crow that showed up, I'd kind of have to question that. But
oh
I don't
boy.
I love owls.
Well, the crows now we're called, well, they're ravens, Hugin and Moonin, but Odin, our father, had the two ravens watching. That would be the seers. So in my props, because I had a chair for Odin, and I put two plastic crows, like, pretend they're ravens. I was chased by it. You were chased by a 3-foot owl.
Oh, she gets chased by frogs too.
No way.
Yeah. Amber is scared of frogs. She don't like frogs. She'll go
That's
ghost
why they're
hunting.
chasing.
Yeah, she'll go out there and check it for ghosts and Sasquatch and stuff, but she's scared of frogs.
Oh no.
And now she got chased by an owl.
Oh.
I think Jessica got chased by owls too.
Oh. You know where we have a nest is at our carpool pickup spot. And it's this optometry place. And these owls have been there seasonally. But this year, all of a sudden, every morning at carpool pickup, we're like watching these like National Geographic cameras and stuff. People are there. And we didn't know that she's about to have babies. So these babies came, and now they're still growing. And every day there's different photographers there taking pictures of them. But I'm always like, of course they picked this spot. This is where I'm picking up these enlightened children for carpool. It's like the magic school bus. Like, come on, kids, say hi to the owls. Time to go through the portal to the classroom.
Magic school bus.
I would love to reenact that show, and like that would be a live action I would watch.
Ooh, class project. Let them do it.
Yes, there we go. Oh no. All stories.
I mean, that's kind of like the new school review, when you had the owl and frog, and they were all the kids were all different animals. That's what was on TV when I was growing up. New school review. New review. I'm sorry.
New review.
Had the owl.
That sounds special.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sweet. That sounds like a good one. Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking how to. I'll have to let you know how it goes with the little project.
Yeah.
And yeah. Again, they help me pivot. I may have a plan, but sometimes it just goes like this because of what energy I get back from the kids or what situations we have going on. So I have ideas of things I like to do, but sometimes it just turns into a lesson in humanity. Like, let's have a sacred council. You all are being crazy.
Have Charlie bring the video camera with, and you do some Midwest scenes.
Oh yeah. Yes, totally. You mean when we come out?
Yeah.
To see you all? Absolutely. Oh, heck yeah. Yeah, she's getting into that stuff. I think that's what helped her with this project. She was trying to push something to happen, and then her ability to change it and then incorporate it all. I think, she's onto something here. And it's fun because now we're curating these classes for high school. I'm like, more writing, more,
Mhm.
screenplay, all these different. That's the beauty with the homeschool. You get a laundry list of choices of credits. You just look around town, really, and they're usually taught by mentors, people that's their specialty, and hopefully they're good with kids, and you can learn from an actual person that specializes in that subject. So could be a cool thing.
If you had enough time, it'd be cool if you could do like a home version or a play version of Ferris Bueller.
Yeah. Nice. Oh,
You
I
can actually
love
do that in
movie.
LA though. You could hit all the museums and all the places there in LA and just make a localized
Oh, we
version.
do. We kind of do. Yeah. Because we're only at that learning center. Some kids go 2 days a week and some go 4. And then the fifth day we're out and about. And so, yeah, we have, spring break starts next week, but after this coming, and, one of the trips we're doing when they come back is at Moore Park City College. Moore Park is a really nice little suburb out there, and they have the learning zoo. It's more for the students that are learning to be vets and work with animals and zoology and stuff, and they run the program. So we go into a little field trip, and these animals are actually in habitats that they helped build and create. And there's just a few of them that are really supposed to be there. There's not going to be like a penguin in the middle of the California thing, but they're kids that are passionate about animals, teaching kids about animals. So it's cool. And then they do have actually on the roster for LA County Museums, homeschool days. So homeschoolers go for free. And yeah, it's pretty cool. We over Christmas, we went to the Science Museum, which was amazing. But I always forgot to vlog about this, which is so funny. We wound up going to the IMAX to see the Future Cities of Tomorrow video. And I was with my mom friend and I, when we talk all the same things, and we just kept being like, this is bullshit. And what we noticed the most is the layers of these future cities. No one's touching the ground. Like no one's grounded. There's no green. There's no, it's all like these city layers, whereas the below were like the degenerates, really. It was dark. It was dank. And you're like, oh my God, they're trying to keep people from being grounding. And then everywhere there was some sort of EMF or some sort of radiation. And we're like, well, this doesn't look very good. And the kids kept saying like, shh, don't do your thing in here. Like, just let us watch. Right. And so we let them watch. And when we left, we were all talking about, well, wasn't it weird? You didn't really see any pets, robots, but you didn't see animals. Like no one had a dog or a cat or turtle. They did this shot, and it was all like AI generated. They did this shot of this park, but again, it was all elevated off the ground. And even the kids were like, I don't understand. That means it's not natural then. And, how are they getting those things? I know they can make things grow on big buildings and that kind of stuff, but they were noticing the artificial about it all. And they're like, what's so smart about that? That's what they kept saying. Why is that smart?
Even grounding with our shoes, when we started going to plastic and synthetic soles. I mean, we granted that our feet were not actually touching the ground, but at least we had leather or something that was natural that possibly could let energy through. But now it's just like there's no way.
Yes. Yeah, that was part of our little lesson. We have little leather moccasins we made before Christmas, and we keep them in the room. So they had little like inside shoes, it was muddy and stuff. But really it was a talk about grounding. And, I do let them take their shoes off if they want to. They're one Jungle Boy. He's always, he had a hard time wearing, like he was Loki in the play and he had to wear shoes the whole play. So that was his first thing he had to get over because he's so used to not wearing shoes. Yeah, all that good stuff. I love it. They're all still talking the animals and the owls and the
yeah, they're all typing stuff in, and
I love that. I'll take a picture of those owls. Oh, you have
Jungle Boy.
Yeah, I call him Jungle Boy. He's the one who lives behind me. I interviewed his dad a couple weeks ago, Quan.
Yeah.
They have the biodynamic garden. Like he runs around on wood chips. He's more comfortable, and he is fast. fast little boy. He's also a yo-yo champion. He just got first place in a yo-yo competition or national.
Oh my
he's-
gosh, kids still play with yo-yos.
That's huge in our little class. Yeah, they're big in yo-yos, and he
That's
taught
awesome.
himself over a year and just went in a competition. He's great. I tell you, they're so like they pick up things and they
Wow.
transform.
I'm glad
Yo-yos
that
are
I got a
big.
drawer
out
upstairs of 5 old yo-yos that I had when I was a kid.
Oh,
Wow.
it's hot. That's the hot thing, I think. That and kickball and soccer. Those are the hottest things on our campus right now. Yo-yo mostly in my class.
No hacky sack.
No, not yet. Oh, you know,
Oh.
we work with beanbags in the morning. Like we do math and times table. So I might have to pull out some tricks.
Beanbag.
Show 'em, look what else I can do.
That's a big hacky sack.
I remember those hacky sack boys.
Oh yeah.
The Duncan yo-yo. Yeah, he just went viral on YouTube. He has a little yo-yo page because he does this move called Godspeed. Someone made it up, and he wound up doing it with the guy who invented the yo-yo move. And so he's all excited. He's 10. And this is, education. We're not about TV and media and stuff. But like his dad, Quan, who I interviewed, who talks AI and stuff, he goes, there's a way to utilize the tool and not let the tool use you. And it's helping him get sponsorship and stuff. So he can go to these little competitions and have it paid for and stuff. So,
Wow.
yeah, win-win.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I got an Imperial and another one that I never took out of the package. I just bought them and threw them in the drawer and just kept them as keepsakes. And then I have one that's made out of exotic wood. It's really cool.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's in
Nice.
its original package too.
Nice.
Then I had the ones I
that's
played with all the time.
good. Oh, that's great. Yeah, the boys and the girls, everybody, they play it. They love it. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
cute.
that's cool.
It's cute. And they brought it out themselves. It wasn't like, hey guys, why don't you start trying this? One kid just brought one day and, hey, what are you doing? I can do that. And then they started picking them up. They go to Sunday meetups. There's this thing DXL, and they go to this meetup with some professionals help them. And they drive like an hour to hang out with these professionals. And so they have like a yo-yo club.
Oh,
And
cool.
then a couple of girls in my class have a fairy club, and they meet once a week, and they made little posters and signs, and they made forts all around our backfield. But then they meet outside of school and continue the fairy club. It's really cute. I walked with them to the backfield last week, and I was like, oh, did you see one? I think I saw. I didn't quite in that moment, but I wanted them to know that I was hearing them. And like, did you see that one, Miss Heidi? Did you see that one? I go, oh, I don't know if I saw it. I thought I did. I heard something. And then they're just, it's
How
really
about
cute.
Frisbees? Do you see a lot of people using Frisbees out there in LA still?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I know Frisbee golf's a big deal, but yeah, Frisbee's on the beach, still a hot thing.
Okay.
Or in parks.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't see a whole lot of people in parks around here doing Frisbees like they
Oh,
used to.
that was
Yeah,
a big
they
Midwest
still
thing.
have, they have frisbee golf, like Heidi was saying, in the bigger towns. But out here, growing up, we used to play frisbee
Yeah,
and
all the time.
skateboarded all the time, even just
Yeah.
here in Illinois.
Yeah. My ex there in Illinois, he would take me. He was from Indiana, Evansville, but he was really into Frisbee golf. So he taught me about that. That was big to do. I tell you though, I guess maybe now it'll start coming out, but it's been windy as heck. So time and a place, I guess, for the Frisbee.
No, it's been windy here.
Yeah. When's it
Okay.
going to clear up for you guys, you think?
It's
Like-
slow. I mean, today wasn't too bad. It's still in the 50s, but I mean, I'm just tired of getting warm weather, and then the next day you have 2 inches of snow on the ground. It's just like, what? How can it go from 80 to down here? And it's happened so many times. And all these storms, there's blizzard warnings up north in Wisconsin, and that
Wow.
whole area, and then tornadoes down south. I don't know. I thought that
Jeez.
this weather was done, but it just seems like it's
Keep stirring it up. Some of those
Yeah.
satellite
It's bad.
images.
Yeah. Oh, the wind has been bad on and off. I haven't had a 24/7 on for a while.
Uh,
There's no sense on it. It's just all you hear is roaring.
yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, I've seen a couple crazy videos where they're like, "Yeah, you make kites."
Yeah, make kites.
Aaron.
Yeah, we made our own
Absolutely.
kites. I
Yeah.
mean, we made box kites out of the Sunday comics.
Oh yeah. Oh, I missed the Sunday comics. Oh,
Is there such
love
thing as
that
Sunday
section.
comics anymore?
I don't know.
I doubt it. I don't know.
I doubt it. That was a good one, and I liked the coupons. Just to read them, even though I was like a
Frisbees
kid.
Frisbees get shot in Tennessee as clay pigeons.
We had,
Oh yeah, I've shot some clay pigeons, TKV.
oh yeah. We had an 1.5-acre backyard growing up at my mom and dad's place right on the edge of town. And we were still in town, but we had like just this big lot of grass behind us. So we played baseball, soccer, kickball, everything. But as kids, me and my brother and my sister could fly a kite on our back porch, and it'd be all the way across up there. We could literally tie it off, go in, eat lunch, come back, and it'd still be up in the air because it's so high and so far.
Oh wow.
And just continue after lunch flying our kites.
Wow. Oh my gosh. My favorite kite flying was Cannon Beach in Oregon. That ride from Portland when I saw the Sasquatch, but that beach, they had they had a kite shop there at Cannon Beach. That was pretty amazing. And then of course Astoria, the Goonies and rock and everything. Oh, Aaron was a paper boy.
Wow.
That's cute. That's really cute. Kite flying's awesome.
Well, Heidi, we're approaching the 2-hour mark.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
Where did that go?
I know.
I don't know.
I guess I gabbed, man. I didn't even finish my lemon water.
Well, Bo's going to signal you pretty soon, like, Mom, are you done yet?
I know, right? He's sitting here.
I'm hearing ours walking around too, like, okay, come on, it's been a couple hours.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. That was really
Thanks for
sweet.
coming. We love
Thank you.
having you.
Well, of
That was fun.
course.
That was fun. We'll have to play. We'll play again on my channel.
All right.
And all you
Yeah.
peeps who are here, come on by.
Everybody go subscribe to Heidi.
Thank you for that. I'll keep playing after Thursday. We're on spring break till the 28th. So
Oh
I have some free
my.
time coming up.
Cool.
Nice.
I say it, I look at the giant, I'm like, free time. It's like, yeah, that
This
was
has been
sweet.
great. I mean, you can just hop on and we can just talk about anything and everything, and we could just keep on going for hours.
Thank you for that, and thank you guys for being friends too. Like
Thank you.
I check in with you. Like
Yeah.
I'm proud to wear your swag, but I also vent to you. I disclose to you. I'm
Well,
like,
we vent to you too. I mean,
We-
you just, you got to be careful who you vent to. And
yes,
so, yes, we've become very close friends.
yeah.
And I
thank
love
for
you.
that. Thank you for that. Oh, I love you guys very much. Yeah, you're very sweet. And yeah, I've already, and I
You're
maxed
going to be
out.
crying.
No, you really walked me through some heavy things. I think we
You
walked
did
ourselves.
too.
We soundboard for each other. I think
Yes, you've helped
that's
me. You
yeah,
helped me through things.
this is what the community, people say, oh, you're podcasting. I go, no, we're building community
Yeah.
that we can connect with. Anytime something tragic happens, you guys are the first to blow up my phone. And it's like, that feels
know.
special. That's friendship. And that's why we don't take these community chats lightly. We're honoring each other and
Mhm.
celebrating each other. And that's the discernment that has been the hardest going through these communities for so many years, is you see that some people don't exactly mean their word, or they don't
Yeah.
mean what they say.
Right.
So finding
Yeah.
good peeps is, special. So thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. We're not just building up subscribers or followers. This is family and friends, and we've gotten to know each other, and we support each other's shows. And,
Yeah.
it's this community is not a normal YouTube community. I mean, we're just, somebody comes in, everyone's saying hi to them. Hi, 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 hi. And I tried other chats. I tried to say hi. You're
I
lucky to get one
know.
person to say hello.
Uh-huh.
You're a newbie. Who are you?
Yep.
But our
yep.
community, oh my gosh, you're new. I mean, you're welcomed by almost every single person in that chat.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You
Well,
know,
there you
and then-
go. It's all about the foundation. And you guys
Yeah.
built a wonderful foundation here. So thank you.
So don't go anywhere. We'll
Okay.
talk for a few minutes afterwards.
Okay. All right. Bye, peeps.
Yeah. Well, I guess we will see everyone tomorrow night on Hunting the Shadows with Dennis, which that girl does.
Yeah.
And Wednesday night, Night Owl Lounge. Who knows what we'll talk about. And then Friday and Saturday night on Rumble only. Check out our movies and X-Files and Lost in Space and
Right.
all
Might
kinds of
even-
good stuff.
I think we're going to maybe introduce even Night Gallery.
Ooh. That'll be good too.
So having said that, everybody, we love you. Thank you for coming. Like Jane said, make sure you go over to Heidi's socials, and all the descriptions or all the info is in our description. So please go check that out and show Heidi some love, and start following her. She has great guests, and like with her great friend, they do kids
Laura.
health. So
Yep.
check that out, and we will see you next time.
Woohoo.
Love you guys.
Keep your vibrations high.
Keep looking up.